Welcome back to Movies TV Man, and welcome to the DCEU Daily Live. The picture quality isn't great, but let's go. It is not very long now to the release of the Batman. I've always said it, anything involving the Batman or the Joker is huge. You know, Batman is the most popular comic book character of all time. And, you know, this man, Matt Reeves, is very popular. And once his name was attached to Batman, we knew what was going to happen. And so we've got that to come. But we've got so much more to come as well. We've got Peacemaker doing really well. We've got Flashpoint at the end of the year. I do believe we're going to have some crossovers in Aquaman and the Lost Kingdom. I also want to know what you're excited about. Matthias Okafor, are you a Snyder fan or a Hamada fan or a DC fan? Let me tell you what I am. I love Zack Snyder's DCEU, but I'm a DC fan as well. I'm a big Smallville fan. I like elements of Arrowverse. I like all of it. So, and I'm a supporter of Walter Hamada. Walter Hamada is a very talented man, and he's building a universe that's very exciting and interesting. Going to get James Gunn when James Gunn was sacked by Disney was a genius move, and it's working out. So I'm a fan of all of these people, and I don't want to pick sides. And let me just say about Ray Fisher being on Rebel Moon. It's a charitable thing to get him in some small role, but it isn't a big deal. I like Ray Fisher as Cyborg. I don't like Ray Fisher the man because he screams racism. He sees racism everywhere, and I don't like it. And I think he was very rude to Walter Hamada. Walter Hamada was following the orders of his bosses at Warner Brothers. Walter Hamada is not a toxic individual, and that's where I stand on it. What are you, Matthias? Are you a Snyder fan? Are you a DC fan? How do you stand on all of this? It's a complicated issue. I want to see the Snyderverse restored. I absolutely do. I want to inject it all in my veins. And unrelated to the DCEU, by the way, Futurama is coming back. How exciting is that? But let's focus on the DCEU, DC live action. I think DC fans this year are going to be eating really well. John, hi there. So great to have the live streams back. Yep. I've invested just over 300 quid so I could do these live videos on a laptop, a very cheap laptop. The picture's not great, but I think at the end of the day, I will invest in an HD camera. But I'm not very good with all this, so I don't know what the best things are to buy. But it's good to be able to be talking to all of you live because we want to expand this channel. We want this channel. You know, this is a channel for the fans. I'm a fan. I'm nothing special. I'm nothing unique. The only reason I started this is because I love entertainment, but mostly I love DC. And, you know, it's going to be very exciting when the Batman is released and we can finally talk about the Batman and what happened in the movie on these videos as well. So very, very exciting. But what are you looking forward to DC related this year? Who else do you think is going to cameo in The Flash? Who do you want to cameo in The Flash? How do you think this reboot's going to work out? What do you think they're going to do? Let me know. I think it's becoming very, very clear now that this reboot will be part of the story from Flashpoint onwards. There's going to be missing pieces of the DCEU, and I think characters within the DCEU will be looking to investigate what happened. So this is very, very exciting. We've got Black Adam. Black Adam is a huge movie. We've got the JSA coming. How awesome is that? I believe Dr. Fate will also be in Aquaman in the Lost Kingdom. We saw a picture of Pierce Brosnan on Pierce Brosnan's Instagram with Jason Momoa. That's a huge clue. So very exciting to be here. There's no breaking. Actually, yesterday I shared something very exciting because the Warner Discovery merger has been given the green light by the American government. So this is going to happen sooner rather than later. Very exciting times. And Exciting to have David Zaslav running the show from when that happens. So that's happening as well now, and that's very important to DC as well. How will they feel about this multiverse strategy? Well, all David Zaslav really wants to do is make money, and if these films are successful, that's all he's going to care about. John, do you think Michael Keaton is in Aquaman 2? Ooh, that's an interesting one. Well, we know now he's definitely in Batgirl. Whether he turns up in Aquaman 2 will be very interesting. I don't think they're going to have loads and loads of cameos in Aquaman 2, but I do feel characters like Pierce Brosnan's Dr. Fate will be involved. Very exciting. So there will be a linking. There will be a linking to this because we've got this new DCEU coming. We've got this new Justice League coming, and who will be involved in that and who won't be involved in that is very interesting. What is the future of Henry Cavill's Superman? We know in the Flash movie they're going to be changing elements of Man of Steel. Could Man of Steel be one of the only films left standing after the Flash movie? Again, very interesting. Let me know what you think. What do you think of Fiora and Michael Shannon Zod being in the Flash movie as well? I think it's great. One of the reasons I think it was dumb to kill off Zod in Man of Steel, to rob the audience of further appearances and cameos of one of the greatest supervillains in DC live action, in comic book, supervillain history, to rob us of that, I thought was a dumb move. So if they are bringing them back, and if they do dump them in the Phantom Zone, it means there's a chance for them to reoccur within the DCEU. So I'm very excited, but I don't know if Keaton will be in Aquaman 2. I doubt he will be, but he's definitely in Batgirl, and that's very exciting. Now, what about Ben Affleck? What about all of that stuff that Ezra Miller did on Instagram, laughing that, in fact, the Flash movie isn't Batfleck's last appearance? I did predict ages ago that although Batfleck isn't interested in making Batman movies, maybe he will cameo in future movies, and maybe he won't be killed off in the Flash movie. Right. Sam DeJan reviews. Will Superman be in Aquaman 2? I think maybe a Superman, not necessarily the Superman we're hoping to see, but who knows? Shamath, Gopit, Nathan, do you think the Batman has the potential to become the best comic book film of all time? It's a difficult question, Shamath, because how everyone looks at these things so differently. I think the industry, I think critics, I think many, many fans will put this up there and say, this is the best comic book thing of all time. But also there's people who love the Marvel Cinematic Universe who think the first Avengers is the best thing ever. It depends what you want from these things. It depends what you want from these movies. For me, the Batman is something so different, so unique. And in terms of Batman, I think it certainly is, in my opinion, the best thing ever. But that doesn't take away. Batman 89 is epic. Batman Returns to me is epic. Batman Begins is one of my favorite Batman movies of all time. It doesn't take away from that. But certainly, it's extremely different. Let me just say this. The Batman is the godfather of superhero movies. That's what I would say. All these rogues gallery are giving their moment. You kind of don't just look at them as villains. And no one is a mustache twirling villain in this movie. They're people. They're people over being villains. Matthias Okafor, what might be the reason why people hate Walter Hamada in the DCEU? Because he was DC president in 2018. Well, listen, he only just became DC president in 2018. He probably had a slight involvement unofficially during Justice League, who knows? But at the end of the day, you can live in the past. This man had created a horror universe for New Line Cinema and Warner Brothers very successfully. He's making some very interesting decisions, because let's not forget, the DCEU was a mess, a clusterfuck when Walter came in. Someone had to come in and sort this thing out. The mainstream audience rejected the Snyderverse. I love the Snyderverse, but they rejected it. It's as simple as that. Companies want to make money. Shamath Gopi Nathan, thanks, man. Can't wait for the Batman. Thank you. It's great to interact with people because we're the same. We love this shit, right? Shamath Gopi Nathan, if you don't mind me asking, how did you get the chance to watch the Batman? Well, listen, you apply. You apply to see these things, and sometimes you don't get to see them, and sometimes you do. And I was very, very fortunate to be able to see this film. And, you know, I'm eternally grateful, but I don't think this makes me better than anyone. I was lucky. But it's also frustrating seeing things before everyone else, because at the end of the day, I can't talk about this film in detail. And I want to, because I don't want to spoil things for people who haven't seen it yet, which is nearly everyone. Matthias Oklafor, Snyder fans say that DCEU won't succeed without Snyder. I don't agree. And I don't think all Snyder fans believe this. I interact with a lot of Zack Snyder fans who are very excited about the future, but are still fighting to restore the Snyderverse. I'm fighting. I love Zack Snyder's Justice League. One of the best CBMs I've ever seen. But it's not, we're in a generation, and one or, you know, a one or old generation. It's either this or that or the other. Look, I love DC, and it can succeed without Zack Snyder. It can succeed in areas that Zack couldn't make it succeed because Zack wasn't interested in the mainstream audience. He's a deconstructor. And when you deconstruct iconic characters, and I know he was going to reconstruct them, but when you deconstruct them, it becomes an issue for huge legitimate comic book fans. And this is where Snyder got into trouble. John, what do you think the better multiverse movie will be? Doctor Strange 2 or The Flash? I'm very excited for Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness. I think they're different movies. I think Doctor Strange 2 will cement their multiverse strategy. I definitely think Tom Holland's Spider-Man's in that film, but it's different. The Flash movie is rebooting this franchise. It's a huge movie if you're a DC fan, to find out what changes, who stays, who goes. For me as a DC fan, and I think it depends if you're a DC fan or an MCU fan or a fan of both, I think for me personally as a DC fan, it's the Flash movie is just huge because no one's attempted to fix a faltering franchise in this way. So as a creative myself, as a writer, as someone who went to film school and drama school, I think this is a fascinating situation and I can't wait to see how it plays out. Matthias Okafor, which would you watch first? Mom or The Flash? What's Mom or The Flash? You have to rewrite that for me, my friend. Shanath Gopi Nathan, what's your take on Snyder fans and their take on the new DC films? Listen, when you're biased, you will say anything and you will do anything. And if you follow me on Twitter at Movies TV Mad, you know I call these people fake propaganda merchants. They think their words can, you know, destroy the future and bring back Snyder. I want Snyder to have his own pocket universe. And I think and I hope that Flashpoint will do this and give him the opportunity. I've been told Snyder has spoken to David Zaslav of Warner Discovery, the upcoming new version of Warner Brothers. I want that to happen, but I also want this new future to happen because DC is for everyone and not one set of people. And I'm being very clear about that. Narandev Gopi Nathan, do you think Robert Pattinson could be the best Batman actor? Ooh, I don't really want to go there because I don't think we've ever had a bad Batman. I even like George Clooney in some of his performances of Bruce Wayne. Obviously, he's my least favorite. Is he better than Christian Bale? You see, the thing is with Robert Pattinson's Bruce Wayne and Batman, it's so different. It's coming from a different place. It's not, for example, you know, Matt's discussed how he's not the playboy billionaire from other iterations. It's very different. It's coming from a realistic, unique place. I love the take. I think Robert is amazing in both roles. I think I prefer the take that they've done in this film than other takes. But I think the audience and I think people will see him as the best Batman, but I'm not sure about that. I don't like putting other people above other people because it's not fair on previous performances. It's easy to say the newest thing is the best thing, isn't it? Matthias Okafor, Mom Multiverse of Madness. Let me go back to your original question then. Oh, right. What would I watch first? Well, obviously, the Multiverse of Madness is released first before Flashpoint, so I'll definitely be watching the Multiverse of Madness. But for me, as a DC fan, the huger movie is definitely Flash. Sam Lejeune reviews. Do you think Henry will talk to Discovery about doing Man of Steel 2? Yeah. He tried to pitch an idea with the director of Mission Impossible Fallout, and Warner Brothers originally rejected that. Henry is very passionate about doing a certain type of Superman movie. He likes Man of Steel more than BVS. He wants to continue from Man of Steel, and this is why it's been problematic between him and Warner Brothers. Shamath Gopi Nathan, do you think Matt Reeves will get a chance to sculpt his own Justice League and universe? Yes, that's the plan as far as I'm concerned. That's my opinion already, and this is not a spoiler. If you've read the novelization or you've heard about the novelization, you know there's a Luthor Corp or a Lex Corp or whatever. We know Lex Luthor is a thing in Matt Reeves' Earth 2. So first he's going to flesh out the Batman and that world, and then I think he'll start what you'll see lots of Easter eggs and cameos in his stuff. But yeah, he's going to flesh out his own DC universe. And this is beautiful because let's say the multiverse strategy doesn't work. We can just focus on Earth 2. Personally, I hope it all works. Narandaramth, Gopi Nathan. I definitely agree on that. Disinferno, I miss good movies in theatres. Good story made with right hands. Yet we're not really in the era of a variety of great movies and content, are we? I'm afraid. But there's some good stuff out there to find. Matthias Okafor, being a DC fan is frustrating. You know what's frustrating about being a DC fan? It's hot takes. That's what really winds me up. Narandranath Gopi Nathan, you are the best content creator. Thank you very much. I'm just sitting here talking. And if that's good, and if you enjoy that, that's brilliant. Narandranath Gopi Nathan, awesome videos. Thank you. Matthias Okafor, any topics concerning DC? They're in a lot of negativity. Listen, you can choose to be negative or positive. I choose to say, wow, 4 DCEU movies releasing in the cinema. Batgirl, Peacemaker, running on HBO Max. The first DCEU streaming series is better than anything than the MCU have put out. That's what I'm hearing. JMB official, I hate this entire toxic DC versus Marvel competition. I love all the superhero films, some more than others, but I enjoy seeing our fave comic book heroes coming to life. Yes. JMB official. I agree with you. But let me say this, and let me be clear about this. When the DCEU first started, Marvel stands really started attacking DC stands. And because Marvel is so successful, sometimes it's hard to take, and people go against each other. But you're right, it's not great. And who wins with all this kind of negativity? It's the studios, it's the separate comic book companies, and really we don't win by arguing with each other. But it's great to have banter with opposition fans, of course. Shamath Gopi Nathan, yeah, the Batman prequel novel is really interesting with references to Metropolis and LexCorp, yes. But I did predict this even when before I saw the film. I said he is not just developing a Batman universe, he's got an entire DC universe at his disposal. Just because he says he doesn't want Batman part of the DCEU, he's creating his own universe. This is a DC fan, not just a Batman fan, so it's very exciting. Narandav Gopi Nathan, you are welcome. Narandav Gopi Nathan, keep it up, mate. Thank you. I shall try. John, I hope we get the Batman Forever Schumacher cut. Oh, yes. That's something I really want to see. Joel, look, it's not everyone's cup of tea, I agree. but it is a great Batman film. It's an entertaining Batman film, and I'd like to see his full vision. Of course, Will Smith actually discussing that he does want to see the haircut as well. What do we all think about that? Shamath Gopi Nathan, thanks for your phenomenal videos, man. Hope you get to grow your channel and continue to soar higher. Well, listen, it may not be possible. Maybe I won't grow. I'm not Grace Randolph, but my intention isn't to trigger people and upset people. And sometimes negativity sells, but I'm here, to talk about and be passionate about entertainment and DC live action because I think it's great. Matthias Okafor, what is your take on the new Flash suit and which do you prefer? Now, are you talking about Andy Machete's Flash costume opposed to Zack Snyder's? Well, I can give you an easy answer. I think Zack Snyder's costume is fantastic because it actually looks like it can survive in really fast speeds. But I also like this new costume because it's faithful to certain iterations of past Flash costumes in graphic novels. So I think they're both great. I know that's a boring answer, but I mean that. Dis Inferno, what do you think going to be Flash sequel if first one is so big on the scale? Well, that's interesting. I think the Flash sequel, and I think first the Flash will turn up in many other DC movies before that happens. But after the Flash movie is finished, I believe Barry Allen will be obsessed with the mystery of what happened to the missing pieces of the DC universe when he thinks he's fixed Flashpoint. Where's Batfleck? Where's he disappeared to? This is going to become Barry Allen's obsession, and I think maybe the second movie will focus on solving those situations. Goober316, I love Batman and can't wait for the movie. Haven't been this excited for a movie in a while. Listen, this takes me back to the hype for Batman 89. It was overhyped, but it was the first Batman movie ever to be made. I think it's great. I think Burton really did so much for Batman, and Burton did things that are really echoing and shadowing still in live action Batman and in Batman comic books and in animation. But Matt Reeves is the real deal. He's not here just to do a Batman trilogy. He is here to create a DC universe, and I'm here for that. Sanjan Views, when will we see Brainiac in the DCEU? As some of us know, Brainiac would have been involved in Superman Man of Steel, which was the sequel to Superman Returns. It was going to be a great version of the character. At first, Brandon Routh's Superman shows him around Earth, but it all falls down between them when Brainiac doesn't understand why Superman doesn't use his power to conquer Earth. I think very, very soon Brainiac could arrive in DC live action. I think the version on Smallville, played by James Masters, was amazing. They didn't have the VFX to give us the skull ship, but what they gave us was a great actor playing an iconic character. Shamath Gopi Nathan, are you a Man United fan? I am, but it's not great being a Man United fan right now. Very depressing, but I am. Shamath Gopi Nathan, are there any updates on the GCPD HBO Max series? There's nothing really been announced yet. It's in development. I think, will we see it this year or will we have to wait till next year? I would imagine the Batman this year and GCPD next year, and maybe the following year, the Penguin series as well, which Colin Farrell delivers something beautiful in the Batman movie, and you're going to want to see more of him. John, do you like the DC animated movies? I think Bruce Timm has done a phenomenal job on the DC, is it AU, the DC animated universe? I think a lot of them are fantastic. Sometimes with all like franchises, you got a lot of underwhelming kind of, movies in that. But I think it's a great achievement and I do enjoy them. And I want to see the new Catwoman one as well. And Naranda Gopi Nathan, what is your favorite superhero movie and why? Oh, that's a good one. I like that question, actually. Listen, my first ever superhero movie, my first ever movie was Superman the movie. Without that movie, I wouldn't have fallen in love with Superman. Superman is my number one character because of Superman the movie. It's difficult. I will tell you the ones that I hold up there. And obviously, I've seen the Batman, so that's up there. But in terms of, let me just move the camera up a bit. But yeah, I'll tell you the ones that I hold up, and that's Superman the movie, Batman 89, Batman Returns, Batman Begins, Man of Steel, Batman versus Superman, the Snyder Cut. These are all great movies, but there's lots of great superhero movies. And I must admit, I even love Superman Returns for what it does, but it's difficult. What is my favorite one? I don't think I can have a favorite. I mean, sometimes it's different things. Sometimes I love Man of Steel the best. Sometimes it's Superman the movie. There's so many out there, and there's so many good superhero movies, but I am a Superman stan. That's where I am. So I would have to say that Superman the movie and Man of Steel and Batman Begins are my three favorite movies. But then I forget, because the first Wonder Woman is one of my favorite movies as well. That may be the favorite of mine. I think it's an amazing modern day superhero movie, and it's a shame because, and that's down to Zack Snyder, by the way. And Patty Jenkins showed how creatively redundant she is with Wonder Woman 84. Shamath Gopi Nathan, can't wait for Batman Caped Crusader animated series. I think you're talking about the one that Matt Reeves and J.J. Abrams and Bruce Timm are developing. And if that's the one you're talking about, I'm very excited about that too. As I say, DC fans are eating well, and it's absolutely fantastic. I must admit, I'm really pleased that people are coming in and asking me questions and getting involved with the conversation, because I didn't know, because of the timings, because America's pretty much at work now, and I don't know who's about from the UK. So it's great that some of you have come in, and it's great to do a DCEU Daily Live. I don't know how I'm going to do my lives in the future. Maybe pre-record the DCEU Daily and do live evening videos, but we'll see how that goes and how that suits you lot. What would you prefer? Let me know. It's all right, there's a pop-up there, and I need to... no, right. But there's a lot to come in the DC universe. There's so much good. And one of the films that I think is going to be great is Black Adam, especially with introducing the JSA. I don't know whose idea that is. And let's not forget, this is a kind of continuation of the Shazam universe. Can't wait for Shazam Fury of the Gods. So, and that's really, really exciting. But Black Adam, I think, is going to be a brilliant tie-in movie that connects everything. And also, I haven't mentioned on this live video, I've mentioned it on my pre-records, but I have said that all the DCEU movies will be set after Flashpoint. All the movies you're seeing this year, I even think Peacemaker is set after Flashpoint. What do you think about that? John, what are your thoughts on the Moon Knight trailer? Do you know what? I know nothing about Moon Knight. The trailer looks interesting. You can't imagine that Moon Knight will be another underwhelming MCU D+ series, but I haven't been impressed thus far with MCU D+. I think WandaVision was very solid and very exciting, but Hawkeye was boring. And, you know, the version of Kingpin they gave us wasn't the awesome, epic, hard-hitting Kingpin that we saw in the Daredevil series. So I was disappointed in Hawkeye. We'll have to wait and see. And Narendra Gopi Nathan, what is your favorite DC animated series? Oh, do you know which one is a personal favorite to me? Batman, the Brave and the Bold. I think that's an amazing series. I'm sure I've mentioned that in my videos and lives of the past. I think that's the one I really, really enjoy because it's fun, it's silly, and it's awesome. So that's my favorite one. Shamesh Gopi Nathan, what is your rating for the Batman? And do you think the Batman will be a crowd pleaser? As to some scoopers saying that it's controversial. When they say it's controversial, it isn't controversial in terms of Man of Steel, Batman versus Superman, Dawn of Justice. It is not controversial in terms of that element where people are going to hate it. But there are some shocking things that are going to happen in this movie. My rating for this movie, really, I mean, I shouldn't say a 10, should I? I would say 9.5 out of 10. But as a cinema score, I would say A+ without any doubt. It's a brilliant film. It's a comic book movie's never been done this way before, and it's going to get everyone talking. Miranda Gopi Nathan, my favorite would probably be Batman the Animated Series. You know what? I have to confess to this. I've never seen it properly. I've probably seen the odd episode before, but yeah, I don't know much about that one. But yeah, there's some great DC animated stuff. DC, there's one thing that DC are ahead of Marvel, and that's animation as far as I'm concerned. Postum Beats, is the commercials anything like movies? I suppose you're asking me about the Batman. You haven't seen anything. Those trailers, those TV spots are giving very, very little away. You will be shocked and rocked to your very core when you come out of the cinema to watch this movie. Yeah, there are misleading elements, Postum Beats, as well, of course, because they don't want to give the game away. But what you see is what you see at the end of the day. But yeah, there's so much more to see of this film. And as I say, shocking revelations. Put a belt on, tie yourself down, because the ending is huge. Postum Beats, thanks, bro. I appreciate you. Thank you, and I appreciate you too, because I think nerds and geeks should appreciate each other instead of hating on each other just because we have different opinions. We can all be friends, and we can, there's no need to fight. We can all like different things. We can all have different takes without making enemies out of each other. I mean, over in the UK right now, the headlines for the past 3 days were about a footballer kicking a cat. As bad as I think that is, and Twitter has become a kangaroo court, hasn't it? And you do one thing wrong, you say one thing wrong, and you have to be cancelled. And it's a horrible world we now live in. And Narendra Gopi Nathan, you should watch it. It's so interesting and addictive. People love it, and people have said so many great things to me. I definitely want to binge it. John, does the Batman feel too long? No, absolutely not. I'm a fan of really long films. I mean, think about it. I saw Zack Snyder's Justice League Snyder Cut, a 4-hour film. It doesn't feel like a 4-hour film. You can digest that whole 4 hours if you've got enough time in your day, and it doesn't feel too long. No, this film the Batman needed to be almost 3 hours long, without a doubt. Shamath Gopi Nathan, do you think the characters in the Batman are fleshed out enough? Yes. That's the whole point of the movie. That's the whole point of what Matt Reeves was doing in this film. He's fleshing them out. He's getting them, ready for the future. But they are awesome. They are written and performed as people and not villains. Creation K, discovered your channel about 2 weeks ago. Really grounded and top work you are doing here, man. All the best and God bless. Thank you very much. Things like that are great for YouTubers to hear. That sometimes I do a video and you just don't think anyone gives a shit. You've just poured a lot of your heart and soul into a video. They may not be very professional. The picture and the lighting may not look great, but it's not about that, really. It's about what you have to say. It's about what you're talking about. So it's good to be appreciated. Shamath Gopi Nathan, is there an end credit scene? I didn't see one, but that doesn't mean there isn't one. So I don't think there will be. I didn't see one, but who knows? Postum Beach, you write one more question. How does Bruce change from Bruce to Batman quickly? I always wondered. Yeah, I mean, he hasn't got any superpowers, has he? How does that work? How does he change so quickly? I mean, you look at, how heavyweight the costume's always been in live action. How does he do it? I suppose maybe it's electric. I don't know. But yeah, it's nuts. You're right. I think with things like that, you just got to suspend disbelief. Otherwise, if you don't have the imagination, just think, you know what? He gets it on. And that's the main thing. Shemef Gapi Nathan, do you think that Batman deserves an Oscar nomination? Of course. This film is full of Oscar-nominated performances. The film looks brilliant. You really feel you're in Gotham City with this film. I don't really feel like that in the other movies. It looks more like New York City, but this looks like Gotham City, and it feels dangerous. It feels a place you wouldn't want to go out of your home in. You know, so you feel that this is a corrupt place that decent people shouldn't live in. What is it that Jack Nicholson's Joker says? Decent people shouldn't live here. They should live someplace else. They would be a lot happier. That's what Gotham City is. Here's my question. Creation K, here's my question. Since you're answering a few, do you have a favorite film and why? Thanks. One of my favorite films of all time is Oliver Stone's JFK, because that film really, really educated me about power and corruption. It's a beautifully made biopic, if you like. It's one of my favorite movies of all time. Oliver Stone is a genius. Gobber316, he changes so fast because he's the Batman. Exactly. He's cool. Batman's cool. Batman can do anything, right? He can whip out his suit. He's awesome. So, yeah, of course, Batman could do anything. So, of course, he can change very, very quickly. I've got a dead leg now. I've been sitting on my leg. I'm sitting on a bed, you see. So, I'm going to move my toes so I can oh, my God, that's horrible. That feels bad, man. So, any more questions before I sign off? Remember, everyone, try and like the videos. It's easy to forget. Sometimes you may not like the videos. You may not want to like them. But if you like the videos, if you like what you see, please like. Share the videos as well if you feel like it. Because, you know, the algorithm isn't kind to someone. Although I've got over 1,000 subs now, it's still not as kind to me on the algorithm as it should be. So where are we? Gobber316, he changed. No. Splinter Cell, tactical espionage. The Dark Knight movie had not so great third act. Do you feel that all the acts in the Batman felt great paced? Yeah, The Dark Knight's an interesting film to me because it's not one of my favorite. I mean, it's not. It's everyone puts it up there as the ultimate Batman movie. For me, it's not. I prefer Batman Begins. No, the Batman. Listen, the Batman is fleshed out. Every act of the Batman makes sense. It's not just forced in there. Yeah. You're not going to be saying the third act of the Batman is lame. It's huge. It's shocking. It's full of twists. It's full of turns. Yeah. Well, I liked it. Let's see what you think. Shamath Gopi Nathan, thanks, man. Cheers. Too many more live streams. Yeah, definitely. Creation K sounds like a great film. Thankfully, I haven't seen it. Yeah, so I look forward to watching my favorite. It's a tough one, but Heat 1995, another great movie. What a movie that is. Goober316, you're welcome, Poston. Terry Young, love your vids. What are the chances you think Matt Reeves will feature the Bat family in his universe? Dick, Barbara, Jason, etc. Every chance. This is what he's going to do. He's going to flesh out the Bat family and then move on to other characters as well. And I believe his friend J.J. Abrams will be able to do projects within this earth as well. I think his friends that are also creators will be involved in the future of fleshing this brand new Earth 2 out as well. Maybe Ta-Nehisi Coates' Superman movie is part of Matt Reeves' Earth 2 as well. I think that might be the case. Tom Holland said in an interview that he would like to see an Amazing Spider-Man 3. Yes, Tom's been very supportive. I think Sony are going to be bringing back Maguire and Garfield again. How they do that, I don't know. Poston Beats, I already ordered my tickets for the first of the month. Can't wait. Yeah, I didn't get yet. I was too late, I'm afraid. But the premiere on the 1st of March is already sold out. And that just shows you how phenomenal and how, anticipated the Batman is. Shamath Gopi Nathan, one last question. Have you watched Tenet? Do you know what? I've got it on digital. I've got it on 4K. And I haven't had the opportunity to watch it. I really do want to watch it. People say some good things about it. I'm kind of losing my patience now with Christopher Nolan. He's doing war movies and things like that, which I'm not interested in. I think he's becoming past his peak, but I think he's a great director, and I do want to see Tenet. Splinter Cell, the tactical espionage. Matt Reeves is comparing this movie to Conversation 1974, defective movie. Do you agree? Well, I haven't seen that movie he's comparing it to, but what I'll say is I'll echo what Robert Pattinson said. When we heard this was going to be a noir detective movie, we felt like the atmospherics would be like that. But this movie is actually a noir detective movie. This is about the world's greatest detective. Don't forget, Batman was inspired by Conan Doyle's Sherlock Holmes, and he is Sherlock Holmes in the Batman costume. So I haven't seen the movie he's compared it to, but yeah, this is a really different take on Batman. But this is a faithful take to the Batman that you read in your graphic novels. Shamath Gopi Nathan, yeah, Tenet is incredibly complicated, but at the same time, very intricate. Yeah, yes, I've heard that about it, actually. It's a lot of people didn't understand it, found it confusing, but I look forward to seeing it. It sounds like a very interesting film. And of course, Robert Pattinson is in Tenet, so I should really check it out. Shouldn't I? Well, thank you, everyone, for coming into the live video. I know only 12, 13 of you came in, but that's more than I thought at this time of day. This has been the DCEU Daily Live. There will be live videos as often as I can do them. I am not at home in Cyprus right now. I'm here in the UK living with my sister. Sometimes it's just not possible to produce content. But once I go back home, I will be pushing out the content. We will be talking about the Batman. When it's released, we are going to take it apart and analyze the shit out of this movie and every DC movie coming out this year. Shamath Gopi Nathan, thanks, man. Have a great day. So remember, you can follow me on Twitter at Movies TV Mad. Please do so. I try and keep it light on there. I share as much of entertainment news, including DC, as I can, but I do keep it light. I do make jokes. There are laughing emojis. Don't take me too seriously, because I do like to have a laugh. I'm someone who doesn't take myself too seriously. Please remember that. Shamath Gopi Nathan, thanks, man. Have a great day. You too. It's been great talking to you. Poston Beach, we appreciate you more than you know. Yes, and thank you, because that means a lot. When people say they appreciate you, that's great, and I appreciate you too. And I'm meeting some new people now, so that's great. Goober316, thank you for the stream. Have a good day, everyone. Have a good day. Creation K, yes, definitely. Fist bump. John, one more question. Are you feeling better? Do you know what? Damp weather really brings my cough out. So although I don't have COVID anymore, I'm always coughing. I'm a smoker as well, which doesn't help. But everyone, thank you very much for coming in. Thank you for the conversations. Thanks for giving your opinions about DC live action. Thanks for the questions. I hope I answered all your questions, and I answered them in a way that was satisfactory to you all. Splinter Cell, Tactical Espionage, have you got a vaccine? Hope you feel healthy now. I've had all 3 vaccines, and the booster included, because I think, look, at the end of the day, they're there to help us. That's just my opinion. I don't want to get into it or anything. So I have had that. So, and plus I'm keeping other people safe, and I don't want to die. So that's why I've taken them. So yes, and I hope I feel a lot healthier. I've been talking for about 45 minutes, so my throat's dying. But yeah, apart from that, I'm feeling okay. So thank you, everyone. You have been watching the DCEU Daily Live. I'm Mick, your host with the most. Just ask your girlfriends and your wives. Like, share, comment, subscribe, hit the notification bell so you never miss this perfection. And I'll see you again tomorrow with more DCEU live action. Hopefully more live videos. I think this has been such a success. I will do tomorrow's DCEU Daily Live as well. So until then, goodbye, au revoir. Auf Wiedersehen. See you again tomorrow.